Hi all, welcome to TuteLinks. In this tutorial, I will demonstrate how to deploy a Python-based Fast API application on Azure App Service. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we proceed, I recommend you to go through this video in case you are interested in developing Fast API application from the scratch. We will be deploying this Fast API application that has asynchronous REST endpoints which performs create, read, update and delete operations on a PostgreSQL database. The full source code of the Fast API application that I am going to deploy is available on GitHub on this repository, and the branch that I'm going to deploy is FastAPI Postgres Azure Deploy. Feel free to fork this repository and play around with it. Before we start deploying, I will show you how the infrastructure can be visualized once we successfully deploy FastAPI in this architectural diagram. The web request can be made to the Azure App Service, which can be accessed via an URL of the form, something like the name of the app service.azurewebsites.net, or a custom domain if configured on the Azure App Service. The request is received by the gUnicorn, which spawns the Fast API running on 4 child worker processes, and these are asynchronous Uvicorn worker classes. Each of the Uvicorn worker class runs Fast API app on a randomly chosen process ID or simply PID, and the request delegation is handled by the gUnicorn that runs on a process ID that we can configure it to run on a specified port. The web request coming from the internet is delegated by gUnicorn to one of the instances of the Fast API application that is available among these asynchronous Uvicorn worker processes. All the 4 instances in this setup will talk to the same database created in Azure Database for PostgreSQL Server, which is the database context for each of the worker process is isolated from the other because if you look at the main.py code and if we scroll further, we are establishing the connection to the database in the startup event, and similarly we are disconnecting the data from the database in the shutdown event, and each application startup shutdown event are specifically tied to the worker process. Thus, any requests that involve interaction with the database are handled within the worker process. The app service is a part of app service plan B1. The runtime stack of app service is Python 3.8. The app service is configured to have deployments from GitHub repository and a branch, which are specified as a part of Kudu deployment configuration. This deployment configuration will detect any changes to the GitHub repository it is configured with and synchronizes and deploys the code to the app service automatically. So let's begin our deployment process by navigating to the Azure portal. Here I am on the Azure dashboard. Let's start off by creating Azure database for Postgres. So in the search bar, search for Postgres and click on Azure database for Postgres SQL servers and click on add. Select the plan that is suitable for your deployment configuration. I'll go on with the single server and click on create. You will be landed on the SQL server, Postgres SQL server creation wizard. So provide the subscription. If you have multiple subscriptions, choose from the subscription list and create a new resource group. Let's say the name of the resource group is Fast API demo resource group and click on OK and give the server name as the name of your choice. I will be giving Fast API demo server and choose the location that is nearest to the consumers of your API. If your consumers are located in US, better to have it in one of the locations available in the US. Select the version. If you want to have Postgres SQL Server 11, you can feel free to choose and select the compute and storage option. I'll go on with the basic just for the demonstration purpose, and the storage is just scaled down to 5 GB, and I'll leave the other options as default and I'll click on OK. So the admin username, I will give Fast API demo admin, and the password something that is super secret to you, and confirm the password and click on review and create. And finally you will check the configuration that you have selected, resource group, server name, and compute and storage, which is basic generation 5, 2 week course and 5 GB of storage. So backup retention period is available for 7 days, and click on create and wait for the deployment to be initialized and completed successfully. We can see the deployment has begun. Okay, the deployment has succeeded. So let's go to the resource, which is actually the PostgreSQL database server. Click on connection security and toggle this to S, which is allow access to Azure services. So doing this will allow you your database server to be accessed by all the Azure services across the Azure portal, including the resources that are not in the active subscription. So, and also if your application is having a specific IP address that is not a part of Azure, then you can add that particular IP address in the list of IPs. So for example, if your application is some REST API, and you can add the IP of the REST API that is hosted on here in start and end IP. So I'll leave it as is, and I will also add the current IP. And for the demonstration purpose, I'm clicking on add 02255 because I want to connect to this database server through PostgreSQL because I have a dynamic client IP, and do not do it for production purposes, and click on save once you are done with this. Also enforce SSL connection to enable if you or if your clients are enabled with SSL. Now that we have created a Postgres server on Azure database, so we will connect to this Postgres server and create a database named Fast API from pgadmin installed on our local PC. So we will go ahead and add a new server, and in the connection we will give the host name captured from the server name, copy this and give the host name or address as the host name, and leave the port as is 5432, the maintenance database. The username is to be captured from the server details, which is the admin username. Copy it and paste it here and provide the password. At any point of time, if you forgot the password, you can always reset it on the Azure portal by navigating to the portal and provide a new password. As I remember the password that I have given, I'll try to enter that password here, and let me save the password, and finally provide a name, demo on Azure, and click on save. So this name will appear here in the list of servers, and if you are connected successfully, it should show as the elephant icon. So in this, you have to do is to create a database, and right click on the database and create and select database. The name of the database can be anything of our choice. So I will be going on with Fast API and click on save. Leave the default settings as is. Check for the other properties, and the owner is the user, which is admin, Fast API demo admin. Click on save, and the new database should appear in the list of databases under the Fast API demo on Azure database server. All right, the database got created successfully, and we can see it here under the databases node of the tree. If you are not able to see, sometimes you are better trying a refresh on the databases node, and it will show up. Once we expand by clicking on the node, it should, and let us see the schemas. Because this is a very fresh database, you won't be able to see any tables, and that will be created as a part of the application deployment. As mentioned in the development of Fast API in previous video, we do not have to worry about creation of the schema and the tables, because everything is handled by the application, and that will be done by the SQL Alchemy. When this piece of code gets executed, it will take care of all the tables and any other schema that needs to be created, if at all that's not exists. So let's switch back to our Azure portal and proceed with the creation of app service. So far we are done with the Azure database part by creating a Postgres SQL server in our Azure. So next we will create an app service plan and establish the communication between the app service and the database. So everything happens within the resource group that we have created. So here I am on the Azure portal. I'll start off by creating an app service by clicking on this icon. Okay. Let me navigate to the wrench and create a resource. Here I'll choose to create a new web app wherein we deploy our Fast API application. So I will be choosing the existing resource group created for our demonstration purposes. And the name of the app will be fastapi-demo.azurewebsites.net. So once we are able to successfully create our application, we should be able to access our application from fastapi-demo.azurewebsites.net. So let's switch back to our create web app wizard. So publish option is code, because I'm not using Docker container directly through code. Runtime stack is Python 3.8. The reason, as per your need, which is very well available for the consumer of this API. And the name of the Linux plan or the app service plan, which is Fast API Demo ASP. This is as discussed here. It will be the name of the app service plan that we are giving. And under this app service plan, once we click on OK, we will choose the SKU and size that needs to be provisioned for this app service plan. As mentioned here, I will be going on with the basic B1 plan, but in real time, you want to deploy your REST API to production workloads, something like P1, V2 and above. And also there are additional plans which are less costlier than P1s, which are standard plans. These come up with the capabilities such as daily backups and storage capacities, enhanced storage capacities. But for the demonstration purpose, I'll go on with the B1, or F1 is also fine. But the difference between F1 and B1 is with B1, you will be able to configure the custom domains. But whereas with F1, you won't be able to configure the custom domains. That is one basic thing. Also, this will allow you to manually scale up to 3 instances based on the availability. So I'll choose B1 and I'll click on OK, apply. And what else I need to do? I have chosen SKU and size, and finally I will click on review plus create. That will land me on the final summarization page that will display the configuration that I have chosen. You can see here the subscription and the resource group and the name of the app, and the publish mode is code. The runtime stack is Python 3.8. This is essential to follow because we are deploying a fast API, which is a framework, REST API framework implemented using Python. So the runtime stack should be Python 3.8. So finally go ahead and click on create. Wait for the initialization of the deployment, and once the deployment starts, it will take approximately 5 to 7 minutes to create the app service. Okay, so our web app deployment is successfully completed. We will go to the resource and tweak its configuration. So under the settings, you can find the configuration. Click on it to open the configuration tab. So what we are doing here is we are adding application settings. So because our application is reading certain environment variables such as the database server, the port, and the database name, and the database username, password, and the SSL mode. So we will go ahead and add each of these environment variables, and that's how our application will read those settings from the values configured here. So for the host server, we should be giving the server name of our PostgreSQL server database, and the value is given here, and click on OK, and it will appear here. So we will go on with adding the other application settings by clicking on new application setting. The next thing is DB server port, which we can leave because we have uh, given it to take as 5432 if the application is not able to read the DB server port from the environment variable. But anyways, we will go ahead and add it as 5432 and click on OK. Remember to save your settings on a final save button. Otherwise, these settings won't be applicable and saved on this particular app service. So we will do that once we end up adding all the application settings. So the third environment variable we are going to add is the database name, which is the database that we have uh, created by using pgadmin, which is fast API is a name, and click on OK. And the fourth application setting is DB username. Create the key for a DB username, and the value can be fetched from the DB server, and which is the admin username. Copy this entire thing and paste it as a value for DB underscore username key. Click on OK. And the final one is the password. The key for that is DB underscore password, and the value is something that you have given while configuring or creating this database server, and I'll give it and save. So I'm done giving all the application settings, and in order for these application settings to be persisted on this app service forever, click on save and click on continue, and let the web app will be updated with the settings. It is done. And navigate to general settings tab and ensure that you are on the correct runtime stack. And startup command is something that will run our application. So here on our code base, on the branch that we are going to deploy onto the app service, which is FastAPI Postgres Azure deploy. So we have already added a startup command in shell script named startup.sh. So let's click open to see what is in there. So here is the command. The web server we are using is gunicorn, which is available by default in Python based Azure App Services by default. And we are spinning up 4 worker processes, and each worker process is of class Unicon worker, which is a asynchronous worker class. And we are having the application in the main, which is the main.py file, and the instance of fast API is preserved in a variable named app. Here you can see in our main.py file, which is the module main colon app is the variable in which we have initialized our fast API application, which can be visualized on the line number 47. So that is the startup command for our application to be up and running on Azure App Service. So copy the file's name and provide it here, and ensure that this startup.sh file is available on the root of the application folder structure. So here, as we see, it is directly available on the root directory of the folder structure. So provide that configuration command. You can also give the complete startup command here instead of having it in a wrapped inside a shell script file. But with shell script file, you can have multiple commands enclosed in it. That is the advantage. So once you give the startup command file, click on save and click on continue, and let the application update with the new changes that we have made. Now that we have configured all the applications settings and general settings, we have created an app service plan wherein our app service lies. And the next thing is to pull the data code from the GitHub repository. That could be done from the app service itself. And if you click on deployment center and select the source control, in our case it is GitHub. I have already gave access uh, to Azure with my GitHub repository and account. So it has already started showing the account name, which is Vincent for my GitHub repository. So click on it and click on continue. So I'll go on with the typical Kudu based app service build configuration. I'll click on this Kudu and click on continue. Here the organization is typically the username. For companies it will be the name of the org. The repository is Fast API, so which is same as the repository you can see here on Winson user. The repository is Fast API, and in the next step I will be choosing the branch that I want to deploy. So switch back to the app service and select the branch which says Fast API Postgres Azure deploy. So click on choose that branch and click on continue, and finally click on finish. So this is setting up the deployment and also fetches the latest commit and deploys in the app service. So let's wait for the deployment to happen in the background. At any point of time, you can also see the progress of the deployment here. After some time, you will be enabled with a hyperlink that clicking on which you will be shown logs. Yeah, here you can see, we can see the progress of the deployment as and when it continues. So let me open it again and see if there is any progress. Here you can see the progress. Oryx is the automatic build runner that will pick up the file configuration and the runtime stack and tries to run the routines that are common to deployment environments, such as if it's a Node.js based application, it will try to run all the dependencies from package.json. This is our Python based application. So the Oryx build will look for the requirements.txt file, so which we already have here committed in our repository, and it will try to install all the dependencies that were mentioned in the requirements.txt file. So, and once it is done installing all the dependencies, it will execute the startups.sh file or the command that we have given in the general settings of the application configuration. So let's wait for the build to succeed. Here you can see the progress. It is creating a virtual environment first, and then it will install all the required dependencies that are present in requirements.txt. We will come back once the deployment succeeds. Okay, we can see the status of the deployment, which is a success, and the deployment is active. If we again look at the logs, and we can see the sequence of steps that has been executed by the Kudu build process, and we can look at the detailed log of Oryx build, how it got executed. So it tried to create a virtual environment and then activated it. Then it installed all the dependencies that were mentioned in requirements.txt file. We can see Psycho PG2 and Pydantic, SQL Alchemy, or Starlet, UVCon, and WebSockets, which are all mentioned in our requirements. And it downloaded them and installed, and it created a manifest file. Okay, so let's close this log file and click on browse to actually browse the application. You will see still the default home page, but if we navigate to docs, which is a default automatically generated Swagger API or OpenAPI JSON spec, that is a feature of Fast API. So, and see, you should see the OpenAPI spec generated for our REST endpoints. Also, you could see the table that got created in the in the database, so which is here named as notes. Let's try to insert one note and see. So this is all related to our application specific, but we have successfully deployed our Fast API application that uses that talks to Postgres on Azure, and the status is completed. And let's see if it gets executed properly. Yeah, so we got a 200 code. Actually, it's a post, right? The ideal status code could have been 201. I'll give it to you as a takeaway. And let's see, by executing get endpoint and execute, we should see the inserted note. So there are various troubleshooting steps here that you will allow you to understand the deployment in detail. So if you go back to the app service and click on log stream, you should be presented with the log that is running on the operating system level or the app service level. So you should see all the sequence of actions that uh, got generated happen over the period of time. So what our build process done is it tried to spin up our application on 4 process IDs, and it waited for the application startup to complete. So the detailed rock can also be found from here. So let us open Postman and access our newly deployed Fast API from Postman. So here I am on Postman now, and here is the full uh, qualified domain uh, of the destined point of Fast API, and on the top of it we have a nodes uh, endpoint that will offer a list of nodes provided that it has get verb. And let me try to send the request, and I should be seeing the one node that I have inserted. So that's all about it. Hope you have understood in clear about how to deploy a Python based Fast API application on Azure App Service. So please do subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends and colleagues. Have a great day. Bye.